Do you go to a marathon or do you go to a football game?
Football.
What is it with marathoners that decrease their blood size? They never get into the hip, do they? So if you love to run, it behooves you to do these kind of lunges intermittently in the run. Now I'm talking about, when I talk about these different adaptations, I'm talking about people that do something for a long period of time. Some of you might be great runners and run marathons, but you also do cross-training. Okay, but I've seen a lot of runners over the years. You literally look like a human cashew. Your butt's gone. You see this with people, right? And so we have to stimulate that area, okay? And so this is one of the ways you can assess it. Now I'm going to face you because I'd rather face you than what's out there, okay? So, ready? What we're going to do is we did anterior. Now we're going to do same side lateral. If we all do this together, no one's going to hit each other, okay? So what you're going to do, hands on pelvis. Your right foot is going to go right lateral. Your right lateral, okay? So right foot, just initial. Get it? Come home. Super ball, tomato. Let's go a little farther now. Same side. And now let's go a little bit farther. Get way out there. And ask yourself, how far can I go before it feels like a tomato? It's really that simple. A's on the report card. Now we're going to go to our left. Initial range. Okay, now mid-range. And now get out there. Get out into your end range. Just like that. And feel that elastic recoiling. Okay? Or we hope it's elastic recoiling, right? Now here's the tricky one. So many people do their transverse plane lunge like this. You ready? They take the right foot. They start off perfect. They're getting external rotation at their left hip joint. And then all of a sudden the body says, I'm going to follow the path of least resistance. And why is that? Because energy is the concept that underpins our existence. That's why. The body always seeks the path of least resistance. Always. You got a blister on your right, you go to your left. So what happens is the right foot goes right rotational. The body says, no, I'm gunked up. Someone threw super glue in there, so they end up doing this. They almost always go into a sagittal plane near the end. An optimum rotational pattern means your pelvis, think of a steering wheel. When you open up, that thing continues to turn. When that thing continues to turn like that, you create a massive load. The greatest athletes that we've been able to assess have that ability. They have this amazing bilateral rotatory summation. That's really what it is. And so when you look at this osseous ring right here, when you turn, this thing just keeps turning. You don't see a displacement that now goes more horizontal. It stays beautifully tight and coiled. And that's what gives them the slingshot. So I'm not saying every one of your patients or clients or athletes are going to have that ability, but if we understand it as professionals, we can help. We can help to achieve that. And I'll show you some mobilizations for you to assess this. So you guys ready to practice all that? Jibber jabber? Right foot. Right rotation. Load. And put your hands on your pelvis. Does that thing actually turn in? Now take your left foot, left rotation. Does it actually turn in? Now let's play a game. Because a lot of you deal with injury, yes? Okay, let's play a game. How many non-contact ACLs are there? Mostly non-contact, right? Let's take your right foot and let's just play a game. Right foot goes right rotation. You're opening the body up, right? You hit, and this comes spinning along, but somebody puts super glue all the way through what we're going to call the medial to anterior left hip complex. And your body's mass keeps going, right? And all of a sudden the femur comes ripping over the tibia. And now we got a problem. Okay, the criminal was here, the victim is here. So what you do with this person is say, wait a minute, I gotta get A's on the report card. Always start with initial range. So you go ahead, initial range, and then open them up. Open them up, and then open them up. And how well can they load in and get that transverse plane? So to recap, this is what you typically see in a person that's real gunked down in the hip complex. They usually start off fine, and then they do this. See how I just go, whoop, and then I just shoot out more horizontally. So if my goal is to go right and then to the left, wouldn't it make sense to stay nice and tight, load the system so then I can explode? As opposed to wasting a lot of energy displacing myself horizontally. Okay, so now we just went through anterior, same side lateral, and same side rotational. Now what we're going to do are the three opposing planes. Did you have a question? Can you yell?
Yeah, you can't handle the injury as far as that we have the arm driver.
Oh, that's a great question. Can you yell that question?
Sure. You can't handle the injury advance without you got arm drivers.
I would say you're using your creativity. So the question is, do you add arm drivers in? The tricky part is if you add the arm driver, it's more mass, correct? And speed and direction. The question is, how well can they recoil that? So I think what you just said, if I get you correctly, is you shorten the distance and increase the drive from the top, correct? Awesome, because if you keep the same distance and then add the driver, most likely you're going to get a nasty compensation. Okay, so we'll go over some arm drivers with this to help facilitate even greater hip most stability. Let's do the three opposite before we do that. You guys ready? You got to watch your neighbor on this one. You're going to take your right foot. Now remember, a lunge is displacing yourself with the driver, which means you're loading the driver. This is not a posterior lunge. That's a reach. A posterior lunge is taking the right foot, for example, and loading it, and then releasing it, recoiling back to start. So everybody do this. Take your right foot. Remind you, there's only so much dorsiflexion you have. So don't think that you're going to get the same distance posterior as you had anterior. So take your right foot, and what you're going to do is you're going to load it posterior. So right foot, posterior. Now left foot, posterior. Just like that. Now try to sneak it out as far as you can control. Remember, Super Bowl versus tomato. Get out there, return, get out there, return. Now let me ask you a question. Raise your hand if you felt your hammy a little bit. This is a brilliant assessment for hamstring strain. Brilliant. The client has no idea you're doing it, and you're assessing it. Now let's just say it didn't feel good. Well, first of all, you'd start off with initial range, wouldn't you? So you got a barking left hamstring right now. What you could do to start this off is first take the left side and load it like this. Usually what they're going to do is not displace themselves so far forward. Whenever you're out in space by yourself, it's extremely safe because the body does what? Follows the path of least resistance. It protects itself. Okay, so the first one you do is say take the left, go ahead and load it. How about now let's progress to the right side. It's a real short step, then really open it up. Now get a little bit farther. Notice how you feel it back here. So if everybody right here is to throw a ball at me, go ahead and throw it at me. Throw a rock at me. You hate me. You threw it in what direction? Anterior. But what direction did you go first? You went backwards. Do you know how many assessments I've learned over the years in academics that taught me to go right at the tissue as opposed to loading it first? But yet in function, it never happens that way. If you're on the floor right now and I ask you to get up, you can't get up without going into the floor. So this is authentic stress testing is what it is. But let's get a little bit more dimensional with pelvic drivers. Okay, so here's what you can do. Still barking left hand. Barking left hand. And you find that the person's successful mid-range right foot posterior. Ready? Right foot posterior. What you can do is hold this position. So you get the right foot behind you, hold this position, and just have them rotate the pelvis to the right, rotate the pelvis to the left. Isn't that nice? You know how many times I've seen people work with pitchers? I mean, just think about this, you guys. And even if you don't, this is a good metaphor for understanding all this. If I pitch and I land with my left, can you just imagine the torque in rotation around that left hip joint? If you go to shake a farmer's hand, what do you expect? What do you expect? Soft dove hands? No, rough hands. Why is that? It's called a stress adaptation. If you're a right-handed thrower, I guarantee you have asymmetry in your pelvic girdle. I will guarantee you, especially if you've been thrown all the way up to the minors and definitely in the majors. Because every time you land, the tissue has to adapt to the landing, that massive mass deceleration. You're going to catch this on these people. And then when you look at their rehab, it's linear. It's not in rotation like you're practicing right now. Okay, so again, if we just take our right foot, go posterior, load it, spring back. Left foot, posterior, load it, spring back. You could start bilateral, or what we call XXI. So both are internally rotated. Now take your right foot and go posterior, load it. Left foot, posterior, load it. Now we'll get a little fancy with you. So your XXI, fundamental pattern is lunge, foot's the driver. What we're going to do is then add a pelvic driver. So right foot goes posterior, at the same time rotate your pelvis right. We'll stick to the same right side. Right side's going to go posterior, but rotate your pelvis to the left. Feels a little different, huh? Your sciatic nerve goes, wake up. Okay? But see, this is how you stress test. So if I'm working with chiropractors, we teach them, this is how you functionally stress test the sciatic nerve, for example. See, once we find success, we know that movement's essential for the organism's survival. But what you have to do is stimulate, not aggravate. And that's what we're doing here. We're finding these pathways that we can stimulate, not aggravate. Now let's go into the opposite lateral. This gets trickier for people because it's just not as common, that's why. So you did same side lateral. What about opposite side lateral? So if you take your right foot and you go left lateral, I'll do it first for you. Like that, you're loading. Yes, my left foot comes up, that's not a big deal. Unless it shifts my mass this way and creates that nasty angulation at my knee. So what you're looking for is you driving the mass of the right side that creates the reaction. Right side, left lateral, load it, and then unload. Left side, load, unload. Right side, load, unload. Left side, load, and unload. Just like that. Awesome. That's how you test your ability to abduct and come out of from a loading perspective. Okay? And you can play with different angles with that. Now, you did same side rotational, but we also have opposite side rotational. Okay, so you take your right foot. I want you to think about a circle. So a lot of people have troubles with this because they have troubles in rotation. Okay? So your right side goes left rotational, like that. Return. Left side goes right rotational, and return. Yes, the back foot should come up at terminal range, but if it shifts off like you're sliding on ice, then you compensated. You went too far for your ability level. Okay? So let's shake out the legs, and let's just put it together in a little routine. You guys ready? We're going to go initial, mid, and end. We're going to go through all 6 angulations. Right foot, anterior lunge, initial range. Left foot, anterior initial. Right foot, mid-range. Go out a little farther. Left foot, mid-range. Get that pelvis to really tip. Now go end range. Get that pelvis to tip. Left side. Awesome job. Now, right side is going to go right lateral. Everybody ready? Initial range. Left side, left lateral. Initial range. Right side. Left side a little farther. Now right side as far as you can get. Get out there. Left side as far as you can get. Nice progression. Think of it like a scale. Now your right foot's going to go right rotational. You're going to get that pelvis to rotate. Left side, left rotational. Right side a little farther. Left side a little farther. Now right side, really open it up. Left side, open it up. Now right side is going to go, ready, posterior, initial. Left side, super ball, right side a little farther. Left side a little farther. Now right side, get way back there as far as you can control. Left side. Now you got a real callous foot. Obviously you're not going to go as far as a person with a flexible foot. That's just individuality. Now we're going to go opposite side lateral. Ready? Right foot goes left lateral. Left foot goes right lateral. Right foot mid. Left foot mid. Like a freaking dance. Right foot way over. And then way over like that. Great job. Last one. Ready? Initial range with your right foot. Left rotational. Left foot, right rotational. Try to get a little farther the next time. Get over there. Left side, get over. One more time. Way over. Load it, unload it. Great job. Happy, healthy hips. But you notice you're not in deep, deep ranges. Now your beautiful point was hand drivers. What does that really mean? The question is, if you did really well with that, can I add more mass now? More speed and direction to the hip complex. You see how the progression works? Instead of going out X distance, we scale the distance. We should also scale the speed and the load and everything else. So let's do this. Let's take 2 hands. Let's pick a mid-range anterior lunge. Our goal is to really assess, address, and train condition hip flexion. So you can take your hands at shoulder height. You're going to take your right foot, go anterior, and go out as far as you possibly can. Go way out there and return. Think of someone pulling on your fingers to create that load in the hips. Now left side, out as far as you possibly can. Now, all of you in the room right now are saying, hey, my client's doing that. And I see that their knee is caving in. What could you do to strengthen